Hey guys, it's Carnifex with another Nerd This video on Shadow of War Mobile. Today I'm going to be going over resource optimization, so focusing on your gems and your energy. Your mirroring, you just kind of got to use it when you got to use it. It's used for making your champions better. One of the things you should do when necessary is buy the big bags of mirroring for the 3,000 gemstones. But yeah, so the mirroring one is pretty simple. Like, focus on your party of 4, and that's the two. It's kind of the main concepts from today are how do you optimize, right? How do you unlock the most content? How do you participate in the most content? How do you get the most rewards as efficiently as possible? Because you can't simply do everything at once. You don't have enough energy to fill up every ring level on every character in a day, right? Even if you're pay to win, you can't do that much. So first thing, whenever you kind of log on for the first time, or whenever you kind of log on for the first time in a while, just always knock out that Palantir, get your free Spoils of War Palantir draw, and then get your guild request in. You can set timers on that kind of thing if you want. It's really easy, but if you don't want to be that neurotic, it's fine. Just like whenever you come in, check, hey, do I have... Nope, still on cooldown. Because you want to get that cooldown running before you spend maybe half an hour doing stuff on the game, because then you do that 3 times, and maybe now that pushes it so that your last pull might be like you have to stay up to do it, and that just not realistic for a lot of us. So always do that. I didn't spell that right. Guild. Next, so what are the best ways for you to spend your energy? Energy you should be spending on creating a 4-man team that you are capable of farming to 7 stars. There are certain games like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. There is certain content that was eventually released which was exclusive to 7-star characters. But even if that doesn't happen, usually that jump from 6-star to 7-star results in a larger... So you've noticed as you boost up those star levels, you gain additional stat growth per level. The largest gain is going to be going from 6-star to 7-star, and it can be to the point to where essentially kicks out any unit. Sometimes you might not make a support enable, because all support has to do is pass along their boosts and detriments to their team and the other team. But in this one, there isn't a support yet where their damage output isn't affected to the point where they aren't expected to do any damage. Like, you are going to need 7 stars for whenever we do PvP con or whenever they unlock more PvE content. Even if they don't make it exclusive, you're going to need a 7-star character to really contribute and compete. So for me right now, the 4-star team that I'm working on is Baronor, who is quite possibly the best tank. I'll be splitting hairs right before I do my tank champion rundown ranking. Castamir, just because the two of them pair so incredibly well together. Lady Marwyn and Talion. Now, I don't love Talion, but I have pulled Talion so many times that while only farming him, without farming his hard node once, so only from the warlords and pulls I've gotten and packs I've gotten him in, I have him at 6 and a 5th star. He's my most starred character, despite having... So he just has so many... it means I'm going to have to put less resources just to field a team of 4. And if my farming for my other characters ever catches up to Talion, then I will start doing hard modes for him too, to have him keep pace, because I want to have them all hit 7-star around the same time. So that being said, that's my 4-star team. Ideally, you'd be going with Idril. If you're free to play, those characters are not going to come from those gem pull packs. So, ones where Legolas or Boromir, whoever's featured packs. Unless you are planning on dropping over $200, at least $200 on this game, buying those packs is not a good long-term option for you. It can be good short-term. Getting one of those characters in a pool during another power leveling event could help put your team over, and that gets you a better ranking. So short-term, it could be beneficial, but if we're thinking just long-term, if I'm trying to maximize use of my gemstones the whole time, and you're free to play, you should not buy a single one of those packs. Do what you want for fun. I've pulled a couple. I'm just saying it's not the most efficient use, and that's what we're talking about today. But anyway, so in Spoils of War, you're getting all these free pulls. I mean, I'm getting all these free pulls of Talion and Marwyn and Baranor and Casimir, all these guys. So it's going to help me get to 7-star so much faster. And so that if they do release some 7-star exclusive content, then I'm not like, oh, well, I got to wait a week until I can do it, because I'm ready to go with that. So I'm really kind of like harness focus on that. So energy use is, for me, focused on getting those 4 characters serviceable in 7-star as soon as possible. But there's a big asterisk to that, and that is that you should do every single warlord every single day. All the warlord missions, whether it's an orc warlord mission, whether it's the daily, whether it's the hourly, whether it's the featured weekly, you should be spending as much energy as you can on those without paying for the refresh. There are a couple instances where paying for the refresh works. I paid for one on Saruman once. I didn't want to have to wait another week and a half to unlock him. And then the Orc inscription mission is not a bad use of 100 gems. That would be another one that I would consider acceptable. We'll get to the gem use in a little bit. But right now we're mostly talking about energy. So I'm going to do all my warlords, period. Even if it's Lothariel, who I hate, like Lothariel. Even if it's Talion, who I don't love, but he's also going to be part of the 7-star, I'm doing everyone. So you should be doing your hourly. Because if you look at your hourly, right, it's 4 energy for the 1 energy. You're going to do that twice. Castamir is on the 1-1 hard mode node. So the lowest possible. He is, all the Morgul hard modes have the same energy requirement. It's 8 energy. So for 8 energy, you have, I haven't actually gathered data on this, but according to my observations, just general observations, it seems that the hard mode drop rate for shards is about 50%, because I'm usually getting 1 or 2 and occasionally getting 3 and occasionally getting none. Usually it hangs more around like the 1 out of 3 chance, but this seems to be like a 50-50 chance that these are going to drop, where I'm getting insanely lucky for an extended period of time. But anyway, so 8 energy for a 50-50 chance, or 4 energy for a guaranteed single shard. And then if on the daily one, right, where you have 2 chances because it opens in the afternoon, at least for most of us, if not all of us, for at least most of us, it's going to be that way unless you're like in that one bad time zone. That just sucks. You're going to get 2 shots at it, right? You're going to get shot at day 1, where you'll do the 4 energies for 1 shard. And the next day it's 6 energy for 2. So it's even better ratio. So you should definitely be doing, your warlord missions. Even the feature warlord, right? So the feature warlord is 16 energy for 1 and 32 for 2. But if we play out the math like we just said, 8 energy for 50-50 chance via a hard mode. And again, the other hard modes are still 50-50, but they're 10 energy, they're 12 energy, so even worse. So taking the best case scenario hard mode, you're averaging 1 shard per 16 energy, which is what the featured warlord is. So unless you're convinced that hard mode shard farming is a bad idea, and it's certainly not, you would be way off if that was your guess. That was your opinion. It's the same thing. So it seems like a lot, but really in the end, it's the same. It's the same ratio there. So do all of them. And whenever you get to the 32 for 2, do it. These are characters that you will eventually unlock, and they'll give you those power boosts. You'll have the opportunity to eventually get them to higher star levels and eventually have them 7-star. But it might take, and probably sounds like crazy, but like a year. It might take a year. So that's why we're not worried about pulling them or anything. Okay, hard modes, warlords. I wouldn't do refreshes on any of the other warlord or the orc warlord missions, and I would, again, under normal circumstances, definitely not pay for a refresh on the the normal warlord, not the champion warlord, not the orc warlord missions. Okay. So here are the things you should spend energy gems on. If I were to rank them right, number one. If you're not doing this every day, you are making the wrong choice. There is no scenario in which you should not be using the 50 gem energy refresh that everyone gets to use every single day that you play. There's no more efficient use of your gems in this game than that. Energy is what allows you to obviously do all of these warlord missions. It will allow you to get inscriptions. It's what allows you to do orc glory and grog farming. It's what helps your profile level go up, which affects your character level cap. So and that affects how much energy you get in your refreshes, because you're getting higher levels faster, which increases your max energy capacity, which means you're getting more energy. You should always be doing the 50 energy refresh. Now I'm going to do a little bit of math here. If you're cheating, going ahead on the side, you can see the point that I'm about to make using it. Other things I've already mentioned, Mirian, it's 3,000 gems. I've had to buy 2 of them, but that's all I've had to buy, and I haven't had to worry about Mirian. It will be a limiting factor resource if you don't buy some via gems. There's no way to keep up, particularly in the early game Mirian consumption, if you do not buy that. The other thing that will cap you out is tomes. I have bought 3 of the 11 pack of tomes, which are 1,000 gems each, and I do pay the monthly login crystal subscription, so that's one of the reasons why I'm able to do that stuff relatively comfortably. But the other reason is because I'm being smart with my gem usage and I'm not just dropping them on these packs. So buying tomes. But even at some point, once you have those top 4 characters pretty close to your profile level, because it will slow down at some way, because your profile leveling is going to slow down a lot faster. It's going to slow down faster than your tomes. You're going to be able to keep up at that point. But in that first 30, 40, when you're trying to unlock as much stuff as possible, because you want to be able to 3-star all of the Gorgoroth missions so that you can just raid those and not spend a crap ton of time. If you want to be mega bonus points efficient, then sim everything and or auto everything, because then you get an extra however many energy the mission costs and experience. But I don't have that kind of time, and I assume most people don't have that kind of time. Whenever you use that refresh, make sure your energy is depleted. Let's say you have 50 energy, right, and you're trying to do a 10 times raid of a 6 energy node. It will say you have insufficient. Do you want to refresh? Let's say you're at 150 max energy. You will not go to 200 energy, because you already have 50. You will go to 150. So instead of paying to get 100, instead of paying to get 150, you'll be paying to get 100. If you have 4 energy or more, even if it's not something that's not immediately what you're trying to work on, use it until you have 3 or less. I'm not saying you have to we'll wait until it hits 4 from 2, and because again, who may have time for that? Maybe you don't. And that's not going to make that much of a difference. So just use all it up, because otherwise you're spending gems to not get energy, and the point of using the refresh is to spend gems to get energy. So you should get energy when you use your gems. To make sure your energy is depleted for the refresh. Let's see what we've talked about. And then the 100 energy refresh is great too, especially if you're paying for the monthly daily login gem subscription. That's a pretty good use of your gems as well. I mean, I would put 50 gem refresh above anything else, then buying your first big pack of Mirian, and then 100 energy refresh until you're really falling behind, get some tomes, while making sure that you're ready to buy that second big bag of Mirian. I think it's called a chest of Mirian, that one. So the most efficient way for you to get orcs, whether you're doing a orc farming, right? That's where you're trying to run through the scenes, right? The towers, in order to get orcs with good traits. And I'm going to do a big old video on what orc traits are good. I'm going to be gone this weekend. I'll be putting that video up whenever I get back, recording that when I get back. But anyway, so there's orc farming, glory farming, and grog farming. And the awesome thing is you can do all three at the same time. So if your goal is to do that again as efficiently as possible, Morgul missions cost less than Udun or Gorgoroth, and especially Sargast. So just at least once a day, clear Morgul on normal. Again, if you're trying to get runes, obviously this isn't what we're talking about. If you're getting runes, after you should basically, only execute a couple times a day to get your greens. Don't worry about getting to rank the tier 2 or tier 3 version of that room, because as soon as you start trying to farm those blues, because you need 5 to get your first one, you're going to get a crap ton of greens. So just anyway, so the priority on whether or not to use an orc for glory, or whether or not to keep it because it's got great traits, you should always keep it if it has great traits. Never, ever, ever execute if it has great traits. There is no but I really want to bump my orc from 2 star to 3 star. That is just I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow. Yeah, you are. Literally, even if your dominance is full and your global full in your tower, waste that, because it's not even every day. If I ran through... let me throw it ahead and do not disturb. If I ran through 2 whole scenes, 2 whole towers, right, every day, it might take me 2 days to get one that I really want to keep. It might take more than that. I would say usually it would take more than that. For a combat desirable orc. So if you get one, keep it and don't use it for glory. So your orc farming, you want to start at the top. You want to start with that overlord in the center top, because, and again, if you've cleared Udun normal, you can do this strategy that I'm talking about. And the reason you start at the top, because eventually you work your way out, so you don't have to fight those bodyguards. But the power level of the overlord orc and Morgul is just garbage. So you can actually fight the 2 bodyguards and him, and maybe at first you need a little orc help if you are still pretty low level, but you can do this pretty quick in your Shadow of War mobile profile. So you start at the overlord, you pull the 2 bodyguards as the war chiefs. They then get their enrage qualities, which whenever you kill them results in you getting grog that corresponds to that war chief. So if you killed the tracker war chief that had the enrage, then you get a tracker 500 grog bonus for free. And then you will, whenever you fight those war chiefs and collect that grog, you're also going to bring in the 2 captain bodyguards that they have. That will cause them to enrage whenever you fight them, and now you're going to get the grog from those guys as well. Also, the enrage quality is always going to match to someone in your party. Okay? So, for example, if Saruman and Talion are not in your party, whenever you run through, there will never be an enrage for blind. It will only give you things that correspond to that. That's what I've found. I've never had an enrage at poison, for example, because I don't have Shelob yet. Freaking Apple. Yeah, so you start from the top down, and if it's, I will execute one of those orcs. I'll execute one of the captains for the achievement. That's it. And if I'm going to run more than Morgul, if I'm going to run more orcs, if I'm going to do 2 scenes, 2 towers that day, then I'm going to go ahead and just brand all of the Morgul ones, because if I execute, at least I'm getting a chance at a blue if I do Udun. I'm getting a chance at a purple if I do Gorgoroth or a blue. So the best ones to brand are Morgul, because you're only going to get garbage runes. But, again, if you're only going to run Morgul and you're going to clear it, and I would always recommend clearing it, because then you get that, refresh after 12 hours to where there's a new one up ready to go. So for Orc missions, there are 5 Orc missions. This is another way, again, just to be useful, to be efficient with the glory farming, right? So we've talked about Orc farming and glory farming. you want to do 3 of the 5 orc missions, right? The 2 that you don't have unlocked, don't even worry about that, because the medium difficulty ones are too dangerous to be worth it. The inscriptions on low risk is the one you want to do that can result in some actual casualties. But so that means that the medium risk Mirian, don't do it, and the 2 that you haven't unlocked, don't do them. Even if you could, don't do them. They're bad. The 3 that you should do, and that you should be doing every day, if you, assuming that you have enough orcs of quality that you keep, especially if you don't need your, like, I'm at a point right now where I'm not really worrying about clearing hard mode Gorgoroth right now, so I don't need any of my orcs to do what I want to do in my farming. So, any of my good orcs. I don't need any of them, and I don't need any of my good orcs. You want to throw your good orcs on the Inscriptions mission and the Disrupt Grog mission, because those 2 missions, the glory that you get scales with the power. So, if you throw a captain on there, right, they might, I forget how much they get, it's like 15 or something like on Disrupt Zog, whereas you can get over 100 easily. With, like, I have an orc that's 4-star level 50. You can get a ton more, and you should use those orcs for that, because especially on a no-risk one, that way you don't risk losing an orc that costs more money to resurrect and one that you would actually want to pay to resurrect. So here is I would put if you have at least, if you're able to do the purple inscription mission. If you're not, wait until you can do the purple inscription mission, so you have enough power from all your orcs combined, with the beneficial effects included, to do the purple up to the purple inscription level in the raiding party. Then do that until you get to like 600-700 resurrection tokens, because there is a chance you can have 2. I've had 2 die in the same one time, but obviously that was a chance. I think it was about 700 resurrection tokens. So make sure you're at least at like 700 to 800 resurrections tokens when you run that. But whenever you run it, some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to risk it dying. Then you just have a pile of resurrection tokens that's doing nothing, when essentially you can convert resurrection tokens to inscriptions. Like, does that sound like a good trade? I have 2,000 resurrection tokens. They can't do anything for me because my orcs never die. Well, then trade some of them whenever your orcs occasionally die for like 50 inscriptions every time that you run that mission. Yeah, there was a guy on our Discord server talking about how it was a dumb idea. It's like, okay, you like don't understand, because your resurrection tokens are a resource. They can help you generate that stuff. Do Disrupt Zog, that's mostly for glory, but you get a lot of glory from the inscriptions too, and that's one of the other reasons where, just on top of getting better rewards, you're also getting more glory, and that's why you want to send your good orcs on them that you want to keep, because they're going to get more glory, and they're already on the characters you want to have the glory on. Now, for that 5-minute Miriam mission, I have put my 4-star level 50 warlord or overlord orc on there. He gets 1 glory. Everyone gets 1 glory. I've never seen a scenario in which a orc doesn't get 1 glory. Maybe if you're like 7-star level 70, okay, level 80, maybe you might get 2. I don't know. But even at that point, it wouldn't make sense, because there is still a chance you can die. I've had 1 orc die on running a lot of these missions. But I just run 5 captains. And I'll just run that while I'm playing, because that's 5 glory for a 5-minute mission. You can farm a glory per minute. If you spend, an hour or so on the game, that's an extra 60 glory you can have. If you farm just 1 run of Morgul, right, you're getting 30 from an overlord, you're getting 40 from the 2 war chiefs, right, so that's 70, and then you're getting another 40 from the captains. So that's 110, right? 110, and you've added more than 50% of it just by running the stupid little 5-minute mission. It's worth it for the glory. Forget the Mirian. The Mirian you're going to get is basically garbage, but the glory that you farm, because glory is definitely the limiting factor versus dominance. Like dominance, at some point you're kind of like, oh man, I need more but like right now, I spend pretty much every day at max dominance in my global capacity and my tower because I don't have enough glory to utilize it. So that's how to be efficient with your orc farming, your glory farming, and your grog farming. So this final thing I'm going to go over now is this talking about why the 50 energy refresh is so massive. So you get 360, right, from just normal energy regen, right? You get 15 an hour, 24 hours in a day, boom, 360. I went ahead just for easy math, pretended that you're at, a level, I think it'd be like 44 or something like that. So you have 140, right? But it's add 20 or something, make it 520 if but it doesn't change reality. So the hard modes that I'm farming, right, I have to spend 60 on Baranor, 60 on Marwyn, and 48 on Casimir because his are only 8 energy to run. So it's 168 energy from those hard modes. 8 energy doing the 2 hourly warlord runs, 20 energy from doing the 2 second day daily warlords, and then after the refresh to the new daily warlord, I spend 8 on the 2 4 energy missions. And then either 32 or 64 energy, depending how far we are along in the feature warlord. 16 energy on the 2 8 energy orc missions. I'm assuming you're far enough along to do that. If you're not, then it's a little less energy, but it's splitting hairs at this. And it takes 50 energy to do a Morgul normal clear, because again, that's the most efficient use of energy to clear a tower of orcs. So at that consumption, you're hovering around 300 daily energy usage. If you use 300 of your daily energy on these efficient like warlord missions and the hard modes, and you have 60 energy left, you can do one 10 times raid on a 6 energy node. You are not going to level the inscriptions on your characters at all. So if you go instead from having like 60, right, the 500 versus 60, right, if you go from 60 to 200, so on top of the fact that, again, it affects your profile level, which affects your character maximum level, which affects all that stuff, in order to do the most efficient things, it requires a certain amount of energy, and then after that, you have other things that you need to, you just need to get those inscriptions. And if you're not keeping up with inscriptions, you're not going to keep up with power with anyone. You're not going to be able to do the places you want to do. Everyone gets 50 from doing the achievements. If you're not doing all the achievements every day, just what are you doing? What are you doing? There you go. If I haven't convinced you at this point, I don't think there's anything more I can do to help you. So if you have any other questions regarding like resource utilization or to maximize it, post a comment below. I'll get to it. I'm not that cool yet. It's not like there's an overwhelming amount of posts. So I will get to it eventually after I get back from this weekend. So thanks for tuning in to Nerd This, and we'll see you next time, nerds.